What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how you can find your purpose as a teenager. For me, many times I feel like I'm lost. I feel like I can't really, focus on one goal, focus on what to do, and then I start to speak to myself and tell myself, bro, what are you doing? Bro, is this thing that you're doing really for you? Is this thing that you're doing really going to set you up for success? And that is something that a lot of you guys might be struggling with. I'm speaking to the teenagers, all the way from 14, 13, bro, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're a teen and you're watching this video, and right now you're in the process of, trying to figure out your life, trying to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to make that bag, how you're going to make that money. Or maybe it's not about the money. How are you going to become successful? Not just in money, but how are you going to be successful in your life, academically? Be the top 1% in your class. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe your goal is to lose 20 pounds of fat. Or maybe your goal is to put on tons of lean muscle mass. Or is to start eating healthy again. And you're just lost in all these things that are happening around you. And you can't focus on one thing. You can't really find what your purpose is. Well, I'm here to tell you. You will never find your purpose and what you are meant to do if you do not have God by your side. You will never find your purpose if you do not have God by your side. Now, why do I bring God into this? Why do I say this a ton of times in my videos, in the reels that I make? Why? Well, one of the reasons why I say it is because with God, you can do anything. As long as you have God on your side, you're seeking Him first, you're putting Him first before the video games, putting Him first before the friends, putting Him first before the girlfriend, putting Him first before the grades, the school, the gym. If you're doing that one thing and you're feeling lost right now, I promise you, just hang on a little bit more. Hang on a bit more. Because God will reveal to you if you just ask Him. I was stuck for 8 months. For 8 months. Back when I started, I was around 13, 14 years old. I still am 14. Probably like 13 and a half, right? I was so stuck in my mentality. I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to buy nice cars. I knew I wanted to do something with my life other than go to the school, do something with my life, go to college, do all this. I knew I was meant for something greater. And many of you might feel like that right now, but you just don't know what to do or where to start. And I'm telling you, I was the same way. Every single day, I woke up, I started waking up at 5 a.m. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to make the money, how I was going to be successful, but I knew I had to start somewhere. I knew that whatever it was, I first needed to become disciplined. And so I started waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. Didn't matter how I felt. Didn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I knew that if I didn't wake up at 5 a.m., my whole day was going to come crashing down. My whole day wasn't going to be set up for success. So that's one of the first things that I started to do. Wake up at 5 a.m., do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. And at the time, I was going through this phase of, I knew I liked doing camera stuff. I knew I liked to be a photographer. I knew I liked to edit videos. So I started learning skills, right? I started doing the things that I like to do. And I was looking into becoming a video editor at the time. And so, okay, whatever it might be, whatever my goal is, I'm going to do it. And so one of the first things I started to do is to start learning how to edit in After Effects and Premiere Pro, and how to edit videos for other people. And in my mind, in Instagram, when I started to post, I knew that although I wasn't seeing the progress, the engagement, the views, the stuff that it just kind of discouraged me, right? And I started to think, is what I'm doing really meant for me? Is what I'm doing really meant for what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, what am I doing? But I trusted the process. I seeked God. I put God first. And I was like, okay, God, whatever you know that I'm willing to become successful in, it's your will. Just guide me, open the right doors, and help me to choose the right door that you have provided for me. Because many opportunities in your life might show up. They might seem enticing. That you might think, oh, this is going to be my big break. But that door that opened might not be from God. So you got to remember to stay close to Him. You got to remember to put God first over everything. And so like I said, I started to edit videos. I started to do all these things. I started taking it seriously. And I believe after the first 3 months, I was posting about personal branding, content optimization, helping people to grow their Instagram and whatnot. And now looking back at that, that was pretty dumb. Although it showed me a lot on how to edit, showed me a lot on how to, properly optimize your bio, properly optimize your Instagram for success. I didn't have the results I was looking for. I didn't even have the results and the credibility to be talking about what I'm talking about. And so at the first time I knew that, and I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? I saw no progress. I saw no growth. So I was like, okay, I'm lost right now, but I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to see where this thing takes me. And I was trusting the Lord. And 8 months ago, when I started my entrepreneurship journey, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have a clue on what exactly I was going to do in my life. But I knew I had to do something, because if I didn't, I was going to become average. I wasn't going to reach my full potential. So I tried basically everything. I remember in the process of editing videos for people, I got my first client, $25 for a 3-minute part. And I was like, dang, just $25? And I had to redo the entire video 3 times in a row. My entire timeline got deleted. And it has some pretty crazy VFX. Insane VFX. Some good graphics, like Iman Godzi type graphics. And I had spent so much time redoing the same video over and over again for $25. And it was a trial. It was a trial. I wasn't even the guy's editor yet. And that right there just showed me how much you can really make money online. I was like, when I received the $25 through PayPal, I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually possible. This stuff is actually doable. I can do this. And so I remember going to sleep late, editing the video. I remember in my bed, almost falling asleep editing the video. Why? Because I wanted it to be so perfect that I would have a chance to work with the creator. This guy wasn't any type of creator. This guy had already grown his channel to around 65,000 followers. And I said, if I could get to work with this guy, this could open up a ton of doors. And with that being said, I sent them the video. And he was like, bro, this is amazing. But what ended up happening was he didn't hire me. He just paid me the $25. We never spoke after that. But for the first time in my life, I was like, okay, this is a bit of success. I could actually do this editing thing, right? I could actually do this. And so I kept going. I kept editing. I kept editing my own videos, posting about CTAs, optimization, SEO, all this different crap. And in my mind, I was scripting out these videos that didn't even resonate with me. I was scripting out 5 videos a day that didn't even resonate with what I wanted to learn, with my experiences, with my obsession. I didn't know what to do. I was lost once again. This was about 5 months into my entrepreneurship journey. And I was like, what am I doing? I don't even enjoy this. I don't even enjoy what I'm doing. I see no results in posting about things on Instagram that I don't even care about. Like what? Why? My editing was good. The stuff I was doing was good. But I was like, dude, what is this? I don't even enjoy it. I was like, how could you really make a big career out of editing? Now, don't get me wrong, you could do pretty good money. There's a lot of people that do it, and I don't criticize anything or anyone that wants to become an editor and edit for people. Yeah, there's good money in that. But that just wasn't for me. I was still lost after 5 months of personal development, watching all these videos, telling me how to edit, spending money on preset packs. From a job, I was working at a coffee shop. I was there since 5:30 a.m. every single day. Monday and Wednesdays. Sometimes even Fridays. I would work before school as a 14-year-old, then go back. I would come home, spend days editing. And on the rides to school, I would take my laptop with me. Edit. And my mom was like, you need to take a break. It's like, bro, there is money to be made. There's things that need to be learned. I cannot take a break. But the only thing I was doing was wasting my time because I didn't even know that I wanted to do that for sure. I had no idea if I really wanted to do it, you know? And so I was lost once again. And so I was like, okay, editing's not really my thing. I spend 2-3 hours a day editing videos for people. I don't even get paid enough to hire editors. I'm good at it. I know how to edit. But people aren't just seeing me. I have no clue on how to grow my editing business. I was okay, I'm going to keep doing this on the side. You know, and for a long time, that was my thing. For a long time until 2 months ago. And so I'm telling you, if you're trying to find your purpose, it's not going to be easy. People who are successful and entrepreneur, there's going to be like 1 or 2 that tell you, yeah, bro, I knew what I wanted to do from the start. But always, people like, they overcomplicate it. They're like, no, bro, I tried drop shipping, They will tell you, I tried drop shipping, I tried clothing brands, I've tried all these things that none of them worked for me until I found one thing that stuck, that was in my mind, that I knew that I wanted to do for a lifetime. And for me, I didn't find that one thing until 2 months ago. And so I transitioned from editing to wanting to do a clothing brand that I did have money to make. It was a Christian clothing brand. You could probably still find one video of me trying to make it. And yeah, who knows, maybe in the future, 5 years down the road, if I decide to ever, make a fitness brand, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the same logo, same everything, right? But the clothing brand thing wasn't for me. I had no direction, no guidance. I didn't know what to do. I knew you could make a lot of money from it. And if there was a way to include God in it, then I had to, But it didn't work. It didn't work for me. I spent hours, I'm telling you, hours, coming up with mock-ups, coming up with logos, getting different colors for different shirts, for different t-shirts, for different hoodies, refining my logo over and over again. I mean, I probably worked on that clothing brand for 2 months before I posted my first video on the clothing brand account. And now that was around 6 months into my entrepreneurship journey. I still didn't know what I was going to do, but I was trying things. I was experimenting. I was, doing all these different things. I was lost. And some people say you need a niche down. Bro, your niche is yourself. Your niche is your personal brand. Whatever you like to do, whatever you want to do, whatever is interesting to you. There's always a way to make money. There's so much money to be made. And if you're struggling to find your passion, to find what you want to do, what you like, you got to bring it down to the basics, bro. If people came to you and asked you for advice, what would it be? If people wanted advice from you, what would they ask you advice about? Right? And so, at the time, I was going to the gym. I was doing all these things. I was pretty into fitness. I did ninja. I do martial arts. I've been a pretty fit kid basically all my life since I was overweight. So, the transformation that I had, I was like in love with working out. There was times I would work out at 11 p.m. and don't go to sleep until 1. Because I just was like, bro, I need to hit my workout. I can't miss a day. I was in love with working out. But at the time, I didn't use that to post on Instagram. I didn't use that. I didn't think that was going to make me money. I didn't think fitness, the one thing that I actually enjoyed the most and that I knew about myself, I didn't know that thing was going to somehow make me wealthy in money. I didn't know. And so, I never did anything about it. I never said, okay, let me try to become a fitness coach. I never did it. I was still trying to figure out my way. And should I still do editing? Should I do my clothing brand? Should I try drop shipping? Should I try to build an agency? I was dealing with all those things. And then eventually I was like, after trying the dropshipping thing, after creating a product, after doing that, I never really launched it. I had everything set up. I just didn't think it was for me though. I knew it was a quick way to get rich. I've heard all about it. Some people were saying dropshipping was dead. Some people were saying dropshipping was that. And so I was kind of unsure at first, but I was like, okay, screw it. I'm going to do it. But there was a ton of things that I needed to do. I needed to be 18. I needed to do this. I needed to own that. And so I was like, bro, what am I doing? I'm just wasting my time creating a store that nobody will ever see. Right? But then what I actually did was I started an agency. Picture Perfect Lens Motion Media. This agency was created to help small businesses, people who want photos of cars, people who want just product business photography and videography and editing and posting content online for them. Now this is where I started to see a little bit of success. Because I was naturally good at taking photos. I was naturally good at editing. I've had prior experience because I used to edit my own videos for when I was doing, the content marketing stuff. I was good at it because I had prior experience. So I started doing that. I started, okay, cool. I'm going to make a logo. I'm going to make a name, build a website, and let's start getting this bag. So I remember the first bit of success that I saw was with this one client that I actually got referred to by the person that I was working for at the time. And so at the coffee shop, the person who owned it referred me to this other shop to film a video for them, right? And so I shot the video. I went there. I was there for 3 hours. I took amazing photos. It was at night. It was a Christmas thing. And I got my first $100 from just working 3 hours. And I was like, whoa, this is big stuff. This is real money, bro. There is money in this system. There is money in what I'm doing. And so then I was like, okay, I finally found my thing. I finally found what I want to do. And so I stuck with it for 2 months. People knew I had an agency. People knew about it. And then I started doing cold DMs to dealerships because I wanted to shoot cars at the time. I wanted to see if I could post on social media for them. And I started doing all these things. And call after call after call. No, sorry, we already got a person. Nope, sorry, we can't do it at this time. No, sorry, you're too young. The amount of no's and the amount of times that I got ghosted from calling dealerships, from texting dealerships, from emailing dealerships, from emailing brands was just crazy. I got ghosted. I didn't get any results. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to keep going. And so at the time, I was researching how I could get, build up a portfolio at the time, to shoot cars, to learn new skills about how to shoot cars. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And guys, if I told you, those first $100 to me was everything. It was money I have never seen before in my life that I had made from the business I had built. It was like nothing I have ever seen in my life. And I'll tell you something. And at the end of the photo shoot, the woman tells me, I don't like the photos, they're too dark. Bro, you set me up in a bad environment, and I won't call out this girl. I won't call her out. She knew it was bad environment. She was honest about it. But everybody else told me, bro, you made an amazing video. Bro, you took amazing photos. I was like, okay, I still got my $100 cash. I still got my $100 cash, you know? You know, I'm still good. But I was like, bro, I was there for 3 hours. And I made $100. You don't get it. Some people make $40 to $50 an hour. I made $100 in 3 hours as a 14-year-old by just taking photos that I finished editing in 1 day. And so that was like, okay, I finally found what I'm supposed to be doing. I finally found my purpose. I was wrong. Because at the end of the day, truly what I wanted to do, truly inside of me, was I was all about fitness. I was all about nutrition. I was all about, you know, eating healthy, being the best version of myself. Being able to speak, you know, words of encouragement to people. Being able to discipline people to be able to, you know, help them get more discipline. Not discipline, what am I saying? You know, to help them. And I was still in my mind thinking, okay, why would I ever do that? That's not for me. You know, that's not for me. I'm good at taking photos and videos, and I'm just going to stick with it. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with it, you know? And I'm telling you, I stuck with this thing for basically my entire entrepreneurship journey until 2 months ago. Never in my life did I think I was going to end up switching to being a fitness coach, to being able to help people, teens, young men, not only be physically, you know, healthy, but to also be mentally prepared and to mentally overcome things with the Lord. Never in my life did I think I was going to be doing that. You know? So, after I earned my first $100 with this person, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this. You know, I still wanted to do the car photography thing and the videographer thing. So I started going to car shows, you know, taking a bunch of photos, you know, meeting up with people, you know, just doing all these things. And I remember there was a time where in between those two things that were happening, I started posting about my nutrition, what I ate, you know, doing fitness, content related stuff on my page, and I saw that those things were performing way better than the stuff I was doing. And I was like, bro, this is what I need to do. This is the stuff that I need to do. This is what I'm made to do. I'm meant to speak for hours on end about how to stay disciplined, speak for hours on end on how to become the best version of yourself physically, mentally, you know, live the healthiest version of yourself and be the best version of yourself that you possibly could be. But I was still stuck. Since I had already seen money with the photography thing that I was doing, and I enjoyed it, but deep down inside, I knew that wasn't really like what I wanted to do. It was a ton of work, a ton of editing, and with everything you're trying to do in life, entrepreneurship, you know, getting good grades, whatever it might be, getting your physique, it's gonna take some hard work. You're gonna learn some hard lessons. You're gonna fail. Nothing that is, you know, that you want, that you know will make you better is going to be easy. None of that is easy. It's always going to be hard. But like I said, at the time, I was going through all these things. I was like, okay, I saw money in photography and videography. You know, I saw success in what I was doing. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with it. You know, so Alright, so I'm going to make this quick now because my camera just died. But like I said, that was the first, like, bit of progress that I have seen in a long time. I was really, focused, and I felt like that's what I was called to do. I thought editing was my thing. I thought that, that bit of first money that I'd made was just a sign to keep going, to keep doing it, And the thing is that I did make money, but again, I wasn't enjoying the work that I was doing. I wasn't, really, enjoying the fact that I had to go back to my computer and edit videos and photos for people. And I didn't really realize that it was a thought deep back into my mind. But I didn't really realize that until like two months before. And so what I started to do was, I kept editing photos. I kept posting about it on Instagram because that's what was getting the most engagement at the time. God has given me clarity and so much, revealing to me, but I have been disobedient. And I have been, wait, where am I going to make the most money? But bro, you're always going to be able to make money. But the one thing that you're not going to be able to do is buy your happiness. You're not going to be able to enjoy the work that you're putting in if that thing that you're doing, you're not passionate about and you don't truly know what you're going to do. I was lost for so long. I didn't know what I was going to do for so long until 2 months ago. Like, I was genuinely lost. I was like speaking to my mom about all these things and like, Mom, what should I do? Should I make an Instagram account for my photography, or should I make an Instagram account for like all these things? You know what I'm saying? And I was like, Mom, what do I do? What do I do? You know what I'm saying? So, and she told me, make an account for your photography, make an account where you post all your business, where you post about your life, your nutrition, everything that falls into healthy habits. And I was speaking to one of my teachers that she has been one of the best teachers that I've ever had. And I feel like if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't have ever met her. And she was the one who kind of directed me a little bit. I believe God was using her as well on, deciding what I was going to do, my entrepreneurship journey a little bit. She told me, Matthew, you don't need to have it all figured out. You're just a kid. You're 14. Give yourself a break. Right now, you're the youngest you will ever be, and you will have time to figure out what you're going to do. You are going to have that time, but don't rush it. Don't rush the process to trying to get to your success, to trying to figure out what you're going to do, to try and find your purpose. She was like, enjoy it. If you're struggling to think about what you're going to do, it's okay. Enjoy it. You still have a ton of time, Matthew. You're young. And I'm here to tell you guys that is so true. There are so many people out there, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, that could be making 30, 50 grand a month on Instagram, and you see them buying all these cars. You see them buying all these fancy watches, selling the lifestyle to their cores, or selling the lifestyle. Maybe they're actually genuine people, and that's why they make so much money. And you see them that they have it all figured out. But bro, you're just starting. You still have time to figure that thing out. You still have time to figure out what you're going to do. My phone keeps running out of storage, so I'm going to make this quick again. So what I'm trying to say, if you're lost, to summarize it, if you're lost, if you're feeling like you don't know what to do, if you're feeling like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to become successful? I want it now, 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 now. Dude, it's going to take time. It's going to allow, you need to be, whoa, what was that? That was crazy. You need to be in the trenches. You need to be alone with God. God needs to be able to speak to you. You know, I'm not saying what God is supposed to do, right? But if you seek God and you just give it all to Him and you ask Him for guidance, if you ask Him for wisdom, if you ask Him, Lord, guide me, I'm feeling lost, I need help. You know, I need this help right now. I want to do it. I want to be able to become successful. I want to be able, you know, to inspire people. I want to do this. I want to do that. You just got to leave it in God's hands. God already has a plan set out for you. He already has everything planned out for your life. But you just got to be willing to listen.